Hi, everybody. My name is Franska, and today I'm going to be talking about the importance of proteins in treating medical conditions such as intractable hiccups. Proteins are large molecules that are used to carry out many important cellular processes. These processes include work that is required for forming the structure, function, and regulation of the body's tissues and organs. Our body consists of thousands of different proteins, each having their own unique function. Some of these functions include making up enzymes, which speed up chemical reactions in our bodies, making up hormones, which aid in coordinating bodily functions, influencing growth, development, and nutrient metabolism, making up antibodies, which are proteins of the immune system that neutralize foreign antigens like bacteria and viruses, which ultimately protect us from reinfection in the future, providing support and regulation to the body in general as the expression of DNA and RNA, moving molecules that are essential to the body or transport, and supporting muscle contraction and movement. As we can see, the roles of proteins are essential for our bodies. But how are proteins made? Proteins are made through a process called protein synthesis. Protein synthesis uncovers the central dogma of biology, which describes the flow of genetic information from DNA to RNA to protein. Cells copy specific genetic information from one strand on the DNA helix to create messenger RNA, which is also called mRNA. The mRNA then leaves the nucleus through nuclear pores and enters the cytoplasm to find a ribosome. In the ribosome, the mRNA is like a code for a specific protein. The codons, which are a set of three bases on the mRNA sequence, will create anticodons for tRNA, which will code for specific amino acids. The linear sequence of amino acids that are coded create the primary structure of a protein. When there is an error made in the process of protein synthesis, it is known as a mutation. Mutations in the protein by way of a change in the order of the intended sequence of amino acids could lead to a hindrance in the way that a protein is supposed to perform its functions. This may lead to a disorder or a certain disease. One medical condition I am currently very interested in understanding is intractable hiccups. Hiccups, otherwise known as singultus in medical terms or literature, can be described as the abrupt closure of the vocal cords after the forceful contraction or involuntary spasm of the diaphragm, a respiratory muscle. This causes a quick and sudden intake of air. However, since the vocal cord closes so quickly, air is kept from entering the lungs, producing a hic sound. There isn't any singular cause of hiccups. However, studies have shown that some causes of intractable hiccups in the past have been due to disorders or infection near the diaphragm, which is the major muscle of respiration, or by lesions in the brain, which can be caused by many different things. For example, a traumatic brain injury, a stroke, or epilepsy. The image on the bottom shows how, during a stroke, blood clots and stops blood flow in the brain. And here we can see that abnormal neural activity causes an exciting kind of jolt of energy to go through the neuron as opposed to just going at a normal pace, which can cause those spasms during seizures and seizure-like episodes. Although there are no current cures as of yet for intractable hiccups or any medication made for the sole purpose of treating hiccups, one of the medications used to treat intractable hiccups currently is gabapentin. Gabapentin, otherwise known as GBP, is an anticonvulsant that is used to prevent or treat seizures and convulsions, which are uncontrollable jerky muscle movements. It does this by impacting abnormal brain activity in the brain. Gabapentin is a calcium channel blocker, or a CCB. This means it blocks the flow of calcium ions through calcium selective ion channels, targeting voltage-gated calcium channels. The voltage-gated channel is a large protein molecule, as we can see in this image, that runs through the cell membrane with a pore in its center that opens and closes when there is a change in membrane potential. There are low calcium levels inside the cell, higher calcium levels outside the cell, and a calcium gradient along the cell membrane that favors calcium entry into the cell when the pores channel is open. Depolarization, which is the membrane becoming more positively charged, happens when the cell gets stimulated by action potentials. This opens up the channel pore, allowing calcium to enter the cell. A calcium channel blocker, such as gabapentin, binds to the alpha 2 delta subunit, whose role is to traffic calcium throughout the channel to the plasma membrane. When gabapentin is attached to the alpha 2 delta subunit, as we can see in the photo, the cell is stimulated and depolarization still occurs, but the calcium channel pore does not open and does not allow calcium to enter the cell. Gabapentin will inhibit calcium trafficking by reducing the density of the channel, impairing the excitability of the high voltage activated calcium channel, allowing relaxation of blood vessels. This reduces calcium influx to the muscles, reducing the chance of spasmodic contractions, which can cause hiccups. This topic is important because of some of the long-term effects that intractable hiccups can have on a person. Some of these long-term effects include trouble and sometimes inability to swallow or speak, occasional trouble breathing, difficulty or inability to sleep leading to extreme exhaustion, vomiting, weight loss due to inability to eat and increased vomiting, and psychological impacts due to a reduced quality of lifestyle. Oftentimes, people may not think about how small missteps in protein synthesis could cause such large impacts. Learning about the impacts proteins have on our body is just as important as the actual role the proteins play. Because if we don't learn or understand the basis of these mechanisms, we will not discover ways to repair them. I'd like to end with a big thank you to all biochem and biological pioneers and teachers that help us out with understanding the importance of proteins and biological processes.